Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News with me, Katura King. My first guest, Olaotan Towry-Coker, is a dynamic serial entrepreneur, innovator, and cultural engineer with over 14 years industry experience. He's the founder of afritickets.com, the leading online ticketing and registration platform in Nigeria, which has supported the largest events in the country, featuring world-renowned performers such as Beyonce, Lauryn Hill, P. Diddy, Rihanna, Mary J. Blige, Asha, and more. He's also the founder of Frontline Media, which is an advertising agency. They handle creatives, strategy, and media buying for some of the largest blue-chip organizations in the country, including Nigerian breweries and Coca-Cola. And he's the man behind the mask of Cranium One, a workspace and innovation hub that provides premium workspaces for startup entrepreneurs and early-stage businesses in Nigeria. And he's here to share his secrets to success with us. We feel so honored. Good morning, Olaotan.
Wow, what an introduction.
I mean, everyone says this, but I always repeat the same thing. You guys did the accolades. These are your accomplishments. I'm just a talking head. I'm literally just repeating everything you've already done. How are you this fine Monday morning?
I'm great, little tired, but I'm good. Thank you.
At least you don't have a husky voice.
Husky
Blessings.
Voice? No, some people like the husky voice.
So let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey.
Sure.
How did you get started on it?
Wow, this started roughly about 14 years ago when I moved back to Nigeria. I quickly realized I had an interest in media and creative industries. And I started publishing with a friend of mine. It was a really small publication called Best of Everything.
Oh, wow.
And really what we would do is that we would profile the best restaurants, best bars, hotels, and literally just open my eyes into the whole hospitality and lifestyle space. And not too long after that, I went out on my own. I started publishing my own magazine, which was called What's New, and I just loved, I just loved the whole, aspect of writing, creating, and innovating. So that literally, it just opened my eyes. So I met in the process of doing that. I networked with so many people. I met all the MDs of all the companies. I'd have to go out there myself. Literally, I was cold calling. I was walking into hotels and literally just like telling them, "Hi guys, I have this great magazine." They'd see this young 24-year-old. They were like, "Who's this guy?" And I literally have to just go walk into there and just explain what the concept of the magazine was, and I'd have to just sell the advertising space to them and try and get them to like give me content. Then after that, I literally started working with. I did a concert with This Day.
Sister publication.
Exactly, and I worked on one of the biggest concerts, literally the whole continent.
Wow.
That was the This Day Festival. So we had, I remember we had Jay-Z, we had Beyonce, we had Rihanna.
Everyone is still talking about this concert 10 years later. Wow, it was that impactful?
It was the biggest thing ever.
Wow.
And I was thrust into it with some colleagues of mine. And I was literally working with the man himself. So I literally saw what it took to become the great entrepreneur. I saw him in his element, and I tried to learn and emulate him as much as possible. Then, so that just opened my eyes into the opportunities in the event space. So I thought, okay, but then there's some issues here. There's people can't get tickets. I remember how difficult it was for people to actually find tickets for these concerts and actually buy them, and also for the public, for promoters to actually sell them.
Right.
So literally, my light bulb moment, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity here. I see, this is something that can actually, has legs. But then it didn't happen for another few years. Like most great ideas, you have to ideate over time and let it. And if you feel passionate enough about it and it comes back, you can't forget it. Then that shows that this is something you should probably go into. Then what I did, I wrote a business plan, like most people would tell you to do. And then I approached, the big ticketing companies around the world. I can't really mention the name. Well, I can actually. Ticketmaster anyway. And they just weren't interested. They were like, "What?"
So you decided to just take them out of business in Africa?
You could say that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you got your rejections, you turned your rejections rather into business projections.
Absolutely.
That is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
How did you find the response to sales tactics such as cold calling? Because that's not something that people are generally quite used to in Nigeria. It's all about connections here, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was the response like to that?
Well, I mean, coming from somebody who was actually pretty shy when I was younger, it was actually a great experience because it brought me out of my shell. I developed, the ability to talk to anybody at any time, anywhere. Initially, it was tough, but then after a while, I developed like a regime and a style, and you have to smile, you have to project yourself well. You just have to, come across and sell to what the person wants. And I discovered that but it was initially quite difficult, but then I got beyond that.
So you mentioned a few of your different business ideas and the ones that have actually come to fruition. How do you stay focused running so many different businesses in so many different industries?
Man, it's difficult. I have to admit, I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people, but it's something which I have been doing for such a long time, so I've gotten used to it. But then it's so important to work with good people.
Yes.
The times when I don't have good people to work with, I've really struggled.
Yeah.
But when you have a good sounding board or somebody who can take the reins whilst you're not there, because everybody's going to have a difficult period, no matter who you are. So you need somebody who can take the reins and who can, essentially handle the operations whilst you handle the ideation. As a CEO, your goal is to, drive the vision of the company. So for
I had a phrase the other day that I loved. I fell in love with. You can steal it. Instead of the CEO, it's the Chief Encouragement Officer. There you go.
Nice. Coined. I've taken it. Cheers.
Trademarked. You have to pay me. So in terms of decision-making, what is the toughest decision that you've ever had to make as an entrepreneur?
Well, one of them was resting my magazine after about 5 to 6 years. Yeah, it was a very, very tough decision because I typically don't like giving up. I don't give up at all. But at some point, you have to look at, where's the business going and does this align with my vision, my long-term vision? And is this something that I can see myself doing for the long haul? And at a point, I couldn't see myself doing that anymore in the form that it was in. So nobody, nothing is saying or says that I can't go back to later. But at that point, I saw bigger opportunities. So I decided to go that route instead, to set up Afri-Tickets, which is now, which is sort of like it came from that. And it's now grown into something that's a lot bigger and has much more potential, in my opinion. So for me, that was one of the hardest decisions because I really don't like giving up.
So how do you determine when it's time to start a new business venture?
For me, it's all about the passion. If you have the passion for that business and you feel that it's something which you can grow with over time, you see the long-term goal, I think that is, if you can't stop thinking about it. For me, I go with my gut. I go with my gut and I go with, if I see that there's a big enough market for what I want to do and I see it's going to be as impactful as possible, hence why I went into Cranium One, I think that's when you go into it. It's really your gut tells you when to go.
So in terms of Cranium One, now we are talking about the power of networking here, and having a shared office space, it gives you access to networking like every day.
Yeah.
So what would you say, how important would you say rather it is for a co-working space for entrepreneurs?
I spent the first, I'll just tell you about my experience and I'll lead back into that. I spent the first 8 years or 7 years of my business,
We can see Cranium One now.
Yeah. Oh, wow, nice pictures. I spent the first 8 years working by myself. I worked out of my home. I had a small room, and it was very lonely. It was very lonely, and it was difficult to, to sort of to build the business by yourself. So for me, I just see I literally had that pain point for myself, and I thought, how would other young up-and-coming entrepreneurs fare, and how can I add value to them? And really, by providing them with the space to network and to meet other entrepreneurs, I thought this was, literally what they needed. If I had this opportunity when I was younger, I probably could have gone a lot further quicker. So just being able to, talk to other people, your peers. When you're going through a tough time, just literally just have a friend who you can, just talk to and discuss some of the issues you're going through. or advice. There are lots of other, in co-working spaces, there are lots of other people who have different skill sets, which you can leverage off. So I feel just having the ability to talk to somebody and get their advice or get them to work with you on your project. For example, in Cranium One, we have people who do development, they develop websites. We have people who are graphic designers, we have people who are business.
So it's almost an entire ecosystem within that space.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
amazing.
So literally you have the combined shared skills.
That is amazing, of a fully functional office.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you just have free consultancy.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm moving in. Now, how important, because today we're talking about the power of networking, right? So how important would you say that networking is to an entrepreneur?
Oh, I'd say it's top 3 things that you have to master as an entrepreneur. If you don't have that skills, at least your partner should have the ability to, you know, to network, because you're only as good as your network. As my colleague says, your net worth is your network.
Yes, you stole my line.
Is that yours?
No, it's not. I stole that too.
Okay. So we steal from each other. We can share. Give me one, I give you one.
So you said it's one of the top 3 things that an entrepreneur needs. What would be the other 2?
I'd say obviously vision, and I'd say you need grit. Grit, because it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do to run your own business. Like I keep on telling people, unless you're passionate about this, unless you're really passionate and you're ready, don't do it. Get that passion first, and if it's something you really believe in, and if it's something you really see yourself, you know, making an impact in, then go into it. You know, I think you have to have that grit, because you're going to go through tough times. It's really, especially in an environment like Nigeria. We rank the lowest, I mean, probably lowest 5 on the index of doing business, ease of doing business.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Nigeria.
We're also the second least livable city in the world, second only to Syria, Damascus in Syria.
To war zones.
Yes.
Yeesh.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah.
Not looking good, is it?
Not really, no. So on that note, what advice would you give to a young up-and-coming entrepreneur who is finding it so difficult to achieve their dreams in Lagos?
I'd say look for mentors. Look for people who you can work with. Try and build a team around yourself. You know, they say you should, you know, stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
And it's so I've realized, I mean, later on in life, that you have to use your network to the best of your ability, because some people have gone through what you're going through already. They've come out better and they come out stronger. So why not learn from them? Why not find out how you can, you know, do something a particular way? I mean, they've probably done it in multiple ways. So why go through the hardship of learning yourself when you can just learn from somebody who's done it already?
Learn from their own experience.
And learn from exactly. So I would say, you know, that's one of my key piece of advice. I'd say also just be very, very, you know, prayerful as well, because it's a tough thing to do. So you need a good foundation. You know, you need something that holds you and keeps you, you know, keeps you aware and alert when the hard times come. So for me, I think those are the key things.
Fantastic. So for those of my viewers who want to purchase a ticket, who want to, you know, promote their own tickets online, who want to get involved in the co-working space and harness the power of networking, how can they contact you via social media? Social media,
you can get through to us at afritickets.com. You can email us at info@afritickets.com, or if you'd like to, you know, go to Cranium One, you can email us at info@cranium1.com. Also, you can check out our Twitter, Instagram. We're very active on social media, so at Cranium_1, or at afritickets.
Fantastic, phenomenal stuff. So we had all the names on screen. If you missed that, you can see them on screen now. Phenomenal stuff. Thank you so much, Olaotan, for joining me this morning. I will see you later on in the show.
Great, thank you.
Time now for a short break on the morning show, but when we return, I'll be speaking with a social media entrepreneur about the power of social media networking. Don't go away.